Closer to me. Closer.
I have to lean back. You can see my oily face. Thank you, Tom.
You're glistening.
What are we doing?
Slay or nays, Kyle? Slay or
Nay.
Here we go.
We're gonna start out with red. It's gonna be Sunspine Lynx. 2 generic, 2 red. I chose this so I didn't want him to bitch at me. It's an elemental cat. It's 5/4 when it comes in. Players can't gain life. It's kind of ironic considering I'm one of the few life gainers in our pods. But it's also got another ability, damage can't be prevented. So all of those protection spells, bye-bye. When it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. If you're in a pod, you're not, unless you're playing a mono-colored deck or 2 colors, you're gonna probably have a good bit of non-basic lands. So this is absolute slay. I think it's a great control card in red. Starting to see more and more of these pop up lately. What are your thoughts?
It has a lot of good mechanics on here. I mean, it's a 5/4 cat that just... Actually, you know what? Throw this in your Johnny deck, the new Johnny Castle deck.
Or Flage.
Oh yeah, Flage too.
Yeah, so
Can't prevent the damage.
Absolute slay.
Just like...
What do we got next?
Hearthborn, Battler. 1 red, 2 generic, creature, lizard, warlock. Comes out as a 2/3 with haste. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Hearthborn Battler deals 2 damage to target opponent. I just think this card's pretty cool, pretty funny. And it goes based off of your players that you're playing up against, and chances are they're going to cast their second spell. A lot of people like to get 2 spells in 1 turn. They're going to take 2 damage. Not amazing. It's not great. I don't know. I think it's alright.
This is going in a burn deck.
Burn, baby, burn.
So, slay.
It's a slay for burn.
We got Emberheart Challenger. It's a 1 generic, 1 red. It's a mouse warrior. It's got haste. It comes in as a 2/2. It's got prowess, and it's got valiant. Whenever Emberheart Challenger becomes the target of a spell or ability I control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of my library. Until the end of my turn, you may play that card. I think this is just another way to wheel out your deck a little bit faster if possible. I think it's okay. Not something I would probably use.
I think it's good because it has the prowess, haste, 2/2. And so we're hitting the fact that we're looking at some type of spell slinger, but like buff your creatures up type deck where you can just swing out of nowhere and deal insane amount of damage. We're thinking like Infuriate, right?
I could see this in like a standard deck.
Well, absolutely standard for sure, 100%. Standard, right? But as far as it goes, it acts like a Swiftborn, Monastery Swiftborn. It also acts like the new bird that comes out as a slingshot. Crap, I forget what it's called. Slingshot, whatever. And then, anyways, haste, prowess, you're smacking damage, and then you actually get benefits for targeting your own creatures. So, like Infuriate, we're thinking of draw target creature gets +X, anger or something. Target creature gets +X, +0, and then with that, you also be able to draw a card for each of those that are in your graveyard.
It's a nay for me.
It's a slay.
What we got next?
Artist Talent, 1 generic, 1 green. We basically got our class cards back, in a sense, where you have to upgrade them. They're not sagas. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then for 3 mana, you can level it up. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So we know exactly what type of deck this fits in. Maybe it fits in with that 1 card that we were just talking about with the mice. And then if a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. So there's an Otter Izzet synergy that exists in here. And prowess is huge. And so non-creature spells are important. This deck's meant to create creatures to smash face by casting non-creature spells. So, in a sense, this is not bad. I don't think it's terrible. And the fact is that you get 2 + 3, 5, 7. So 7 mana, it becomes a Torbrand that has a mana ramp and also draw this card.
Yeah. It's a good card. Good toolbox card.
Yeah, it's a Slay for me.
Slay. Slay it is. We've got Heartfire Hero up next. 1 red mana. It comes in as a 1/1. It's a mouse soldier. It's got Valiant, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability I control for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. This is like a mouse version of Jury, and I love it.
Yeah, mouse version of Jury, Cacophony, Spawn or something like that. That's a goblin. Fireblade Charger as well.
This is an absolute slay for 1 mana, and if it's going to be in a similar style that you just said before, like an Izzet Spellslinger deck, like you're going to be doing this once every turn. You could be beefing it up 3 to 4 times every cycle.
Think of this. Let's say you're running Fling in the deck now. Wow. Sacrifice it, Fling its power. Face.
Boom. So, Slay, great card. Great card. What do we got next, Tom?
Coruscation, Mage, 1 generic, 1 red, creature, otter, wizard, 2/2, Offspring 2. You have the ability to pay additional 2 mana to copy to create a 1/1 token of it as it comes out on the battlefield. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell this turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Very simple, right? It's just like your Kessig Flame or your your other ones that also do that as well. Gutter Snipe, those type of cards. But at least with this one, you have the ability to make another copy of it for an additional 2 mana, so you can possibly get 2 of them for 4 mana. I think that's pretty solid.
Great card.
Yeah, it's just standard, but has an additional benefit for late game. Deal more damage. I think it's good.
Slay it is.
I'll give it a Slay.
Oh, we got one more in the red column. We got Manifold Mouse. 1 generic, 1 red. It's a mouse soldier. It's a 1/2. It's got the Offspring 2 generic. Then it's also got, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains haste. Gains your choice of double strike or trample until end of turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains your choice of double strike or trample until end of turn.
Where do you see the word haste?
I don't know. It was my dyslexia getting the better of me.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of just made it up on the spot. That's why I reset it.
Gotcha. So,
Good card. It's a good card.
After reviewing all the cards, you like how I just built it up for this last card? Because in a sense, now that we've buffed up all our creatures that are probably mice that we just spoke about, they're now getting double strike or trample until end of turn.
Sounds like you're one step closer to making a mouse deck.
Seems so, seems so. Rats rule. Where did these rats come from? Well, they probably came from mice, so they're probably cool too. Anyways, Kyle's already moved on. But yeah, that's our Slayer Nays for the red.
We're going to go to green.
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 Green
We got
gang.
Keen-Eyed Curator. It is 2 green mana. It's a Raccoon Scout. Comes in as a 3/3. 2 mana for a 3/3. It's not too shabby. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards exiled with Keen-Eyed Curator, it gets +4/+4 and trample. Now here's the best part about this card, because it doesn't really sound that crazy. But 1 generic, exile target card from a graveyard. This is going to be great. I think it's going to be a good control card for green too at this point, because especially if you're going up a grave recursion decks. I like this a lot. Plus it gets +4/+4 and trample for 2 mana if there are 4 different types of cards among
Exiled.
Exiled.
Yeah. I mean, here it's 2 mana as a 3/3. That's already crazy.
A lot of power. I'm giving it a Slay.
I'll give it a Slay.
All right, what's next?
Thorn Vault, Forager, green and generic creature, Squirrel Ranger, coming out as a 2/2, has a tap, add 1 forest for mana, or 1 green mana. Also has the ability to tap, forge, add 2 mana in addition to any colors, right? So you can exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food to gain 2 additional mana. Or you can pay 4, tap it, search your library for a squirrel card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Squirrels, gotta tutor. Tutoring squirrels. Go ahead and tutor that, what's it called?
What?
The one card that pairs up with Rosy Cotton. Scary Oak.
Glad I could give you my input.
Good work. Anyways, yeah, Scary Oak with Rosy Cotton. Boom. Now you got it. You got the combo. Infinite squirrels.
We have 34 more cards.
Hell yeah.
We're going to have to roll through these.
Hell yeah.
I think Thorn Vault Forger is a great toolbox card. It's a ramper. You're going and searching for squirrel cards. It's going to be a little bit more limited to the play of Squirrel Tribal, but if you are playing in that realm, this is an absolute must in the 99. Absolute must. So Slay for that. Wouldn't really use this too much otherwise.
Slay.
We've got Lumra, Bellow of the Woods, up next. It's a legendary elemental bear. Bears are back, baby. 4 generic, 2 green. It comes in with star for power, toughness. It's got vigilance and reach. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. Then, when it enters, you may mill 4 cards, then return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is going to be a landfall, bear tribal type theme. If you're not doing anything with that, either of those, I wouldn't use this. So Slay for those, nay for everything else.
Yeah. Don't forget also the sacrifice land cards are very important in here.
Yeah, all fetches.
Yep, all the fetches that you want, right? Because this way you'll be able to bring them all back.
Agreed. We've got Innkeeper's Talent, 1 generic, 1 green. It's an enchantment. It's another class. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Cool.
That's a Luminarch Aspirant right there.
Yeah. And then for level 2 is going to be 1 green. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1. Pretty cool. We're looking at 3 mana so far in total. And then for 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 green, you can turn it to level 3 if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player. Put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Oh my. You
can tell this is Kyle's first time reading this card.
This is like you said, Luminarch Aspirant. You're getting protection and you're getting a doubling season. All in one card.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It's more like a branching evolution.
Or hardened scales.
Well, no, because twice that many.
True, it's not an additional counter. It's twice as many counters, so like a Vorinclex.
Corpse Jack Menace is another card that's similar to that, has that ability. But this, I am buying. I am 100% buying this card. Absolute Slay. Say no more. We're going to blue. Tom?
All right, Slayer Nade Blue, Season of Weaving, 4 generic, 2 blue, sorcery. We have our season card here, right? Choose up to 5 paw. I guess it's like paw worth, right? It's a new currency we're looking at. Worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once, right? So you have 5 total. For 1 paw, you can draw a card. For 2 paws, you can choose an artifact or creature you control and then create a token that's a copy of it. Or for 3 paws, you can return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's battlefield. So here's the thing, right? You could have possibly a 5 mana draw 5 card right here, right? You could also have a 5 mana return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand, and then also draw 2 cards. That's pretty good itself, right? And then besides that, you also have the ability to copy a token as well, return all non-land permanents. I mean, there's so many ways that you could go about this. It's really cool. I think it works out phenomenally. So much versatility behind it. Only issue is cast at sorcery speed costs a lot of mana. So that's it. If you can figure out a way to be able to cast it still by playing around with it, it's a really good card.
Yeah, I think it's a great card for what it can do. I wouldn't play any of these just because there's so much mana. Well, we've got Mockingbird, X generic, 1 blue. It's a bird bard. It's got flying. It comes in as a 1/1. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird. Except it's a bird in addition to its other types, and it has flying. I think this is a spark double. This is
Not a spark double.
no. I'm thinking of
Phyrexian Metamorph.
I'm thinking of the blue creature that comes in twice. Oh my god, that comes in. It's like it's a copy double or something like that. It's Clever Impersonator. Clever Impersonator is a similar card like this.
The big thing is that it gives it flying. That's about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a nay.
I'll give it a nay.
Now we've got Eluge, the Shoreless Sea. One generic. Eluge. All right.
All right.
God. Luge. Get the luge.
No, don't get the luge.
Get out of.
More luge.
All right. 1 generic, 3 blue elemental fish that comes in as a star for power toughness. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of islands you control. When it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types as long as it has a flood counter on it. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 1 blue or 1 generic less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it.
Oh, it was so entertaining just having you struggle through reading that whole thing.
I had to hold in burps.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to keep this
Hashtag
part.
no gag reflex.
Call the police. It's recorded. We have that on tape. You're going to jail, Kyle.
Yeah, so this elemental fish is cool. I like it if you're playing mono decks. Like, other than that, I think it's great because it makes your spells cost less. I think it also is helping you mana fix too, especially if you're running multiple colors with this. But at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't play this spell. I'd probably try and find something a little bit better. What about you, Tom?
I mean, let's think. Let's think about this, right? It's a nay.
There you go. Portent of Calamity. It is X generic, 1 blue, sorcery. Reveal the top X cards of your library. For each card type, you may exile a card of that type from among them. Put the rest into the graveyard. You may cast a spell from among the exiled cards without paying its mana cost if you exiled 4 or more cards this way. Then put the rest of the exiled cards into your hand. I like this. I like this a lot. You are sifting through your deck and you get to choose between a card as long as you chose that card type.
Card's going super cheap right now. I was looking at it and I was like, is it worth it? Are there better cards than this? Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this in.
But I don't know. I think for a good cheap option, I think it's a slay.
Gonna be a nay. Thundertrap Trainer is next. Tom, what is this otter doing?
Otter's doing things. 1 generic, 1 blue, creature, otter wizard, offspring 4. So for 4 mana, you get to create a copy of 1/1 copy of it. When this creature enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, put it in your hand, and put the rest of it in your library in random order. The reason why I think this is good is because if you consider this in a bleak deck, this is really awesome. It's super, 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 super good. Anytime it enters, you're looking at the top 4, finding a non-creature. That's basically Narset's part of the Veil. Narset's ability on that Planeswalker that doesn't let opponents draw additional cards.
So, Slay.
Yep.
All right, I'm not reading the next one because I can't read it. So, Wishing Well.
Wishing Well is a 3 generic, 1 blue artifact. You can tap it, put a coin counter on Wishing Well. When you do, you may cast an instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the number of coin counters on the Wishing Well from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead, activate only as a sorcery. We could try really hard to make this card work, but the matter of fact is that it's coming out as a 4/4, and then you only put 1 coin counter on it, so you only cast a 1 mana thing as you cast this spell. For the next following turns, though, it becomes better, especially if you're running this in the Proliferate deck. However, is it great?
No.
Yeah.
It's gotta be specific.
It's a nay.
And I don't even think there's like... Yeah, no.
Yeah, these blue cards suck.
God damn it. Alright, we're done with blue. We're over to Slayer Nay on the black ones. We got Bone Cash Overseer. It's 1 black mana. It's a Squirrel Warlock. It's a swamp. It's a creature. 1/1. Tap it, pay 1 life, draw a card. Activate only if 3 or more cards left your graveyard this turn, or if you've sacrificed a food this turn.
Sounds like a mechanic in here.
Sounds like squirrels really love their food. They love them nuts.
They love foraging for nuts.
I think it's a good toolbox ability for it because of the fact that you're going to be wanting to exile. I mean, you're going to be wanting to just sacrifice it for the food.
Honestly, like if you're running this in the food deck, you should always have this card.
Yeah, tap it, pay 1 life. You're gaining 3 life too. Sometimes
it's a 1 mana every time you're going to draw a card. Basically, if you're in that deck,
this is something I would automatically put down as for like ready to put a board wipe when I start seeing this, and then it starts to progressively get worse.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you get to draw so many cards if you're playing appropriately that synergizes with foods and graveyard.
Yep. So it's gonna be a Slay for us.
Slay.
What do we got next, Tom?
Season of Loss, the black version, the 3 generic 2 swamp sorcery. Once again, you may pay 5 worth of modes, right? And each mode has a different cost. For 1 paw, each player sacrifices a creature. For 2 paws, draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn. For 3 paws, each opponent is going to lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Also, a win con that possibly could be for 5 mana. So let's think about this, right? 5 mana, good chance that you can have just everyone sacrificing 5 creatures. That's lots. Or you can also do 3 creatures and then draw a card for each creature that I control that died this way. Boom, that's a draw 3 as well. Very good. Could be more if you're just running a sacrifice deck. And then besides that, each opponent is going to lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards that are in your graveyard. And then also have each person sacrifice 2. Pretty crazy.
I like the card. I don't think it's great. I like it. I think that it just costs too much. I think there's so much better stuff out there.
Yeah, what's better than this?
5 mana for each player's sacrifices. Well, I mean, first of all, Flare of Mount. Like, yes, it's got 3 different spells built into it.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. There you go. Happy?
Only thing I can think of that might come close to this is Command of Gix, where you have those different abilities.
Yeah, it's draw, lose life. I'm going to still say nay. I probably wouldn't use this card.
I would use it. It's a Slay.
Okay. Valley Rotcaller we have up next. 1 generic, 1 black. It's a Squirrel Warlock. Comes in with Menace, and it's a 1/3 power toughness. When it attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. This is a game ender when you go wide. You want to put this at your last possible moment out onto the battlefield when you have, say, I don't know, 20 plus squirrels, bats, lizards, and this isn't even like limited to only like squirrels or rats. This is bats and lizards as well. This is an absolute must in any tribal deck.
Yeah. Well, not just any tribal deck.
Well, obviously limited to the types that are written on it, but...
If you ask me, this just goes right in your Shatterfang deck. Yeah, Slay.
Absolute Slay. What do we got next, Tom?
Dark Star, Augur, 2 generic, 1 black, Offspring. For the Offspring, you just play 1 black this time, so you get to copy it for 1 black. Flying at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand, you lose life equal to its mana value. I am scared of this card, to be honest.
Isn't this like a Necropotence?
Whoa, no,
No,
stop.
no. What's the... No,
It's more like a...
Bolas the Citadel Thief.
In a sense, but not quite that. If you ask me, it's like the first loyalty ability of Sorin, the Planeswalker, that came out during Crimson Vow. That one's +1 abilities. Reveal the top card of your library. If you put it in your hand, you're going to lose life equal to its mana value.
Absolute Slay, then.
What?
So Slay?
It's a nay for me.
So nay.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't use this, so nay.
Nay, it is.
Yeah. We've got Osteomancer Adept. 1 generic, 1 black. Or 1 swamp. Squirrel Warlock creature. It's a 2/2 Death Touch. Tap it until the end of turn. You may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. Wow. This card, pretty damn good. It's giving your squirrels recursion. So, absolute Slay for the recursion aspect and bringing it in. I would put this in a Chatterfang or Camellia deck 100%.
I love the alternate art on this.
Yeah, you chose the alt arts for both of them, right?
It's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we have another one that is going... So, Slay?
Yeah, it's a Slay.
We've got Iridescent Vine Lasher. It's 1 swamp. It's a lizard assassin. It's got Offspring 2. It's also got Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, the creature deals 1 damage to... This creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. Comes in as a 1/2.
You almost want to say Slay, don't you?
I almost want to, but because it says target opponent...
Versus each opponent?
Yeah.
It does make a big difference, 100%.
Because you start pinging one person, everybody else is going to want to gang up on you.
Yeah, but the thing that kills me is that the rate on this is too good because it's 1 mana, it's a 1/2 creature, and then it has that landfall ability. So, like, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage with just this creature by itself to at least, you know, specific opponents.
Well, you know what? I will say this. The Offspring 2, if you do pay the 2 extra...
You get 2 of them.
You get 2 of them. So,
yeah.
That makes it a little bit... But you know what? Screw it. It's a 1 mana creature. It's 1 mana or 3 mana for 2 versions of it. I'll give it a Slay.
It's a Slay.
Give it a Slay. All right, we're over to the white now. What do we got as the first one? Ooh, I love this one.
Caretakers, Talon, 2 generic, 1 white. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. When this, for 1 more white, you can upgrade it. When this class becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. And then for 4 mana, creature tokens you control get +2/+2. Honestly, it's really good just on the first ability.
Mm-hmm.
That does enough. And then you do have the ability to make another target token, and then also, you know, creature tokens you control get +2/+2, so you get that anthem effect. Pretty solid. That first ability though is where it's at.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of having a Tendershoot Dryad out, or even a Blitter Blossom. And you get at least an extra card draw every turn, every one of your turns. And if it's the other one where it's each upkeep, create a sapling, like you're getting a draw step each turn.
Yeah, true. Because like that, you're right. Tendershoot, right?
Yeah.
Every upkeep, and then same thing with. You also have Ophiomancer.
Well,
you just have to sacrifice one of the snakes every turn.
And I guess technically Toxrill could also, because you're making the slug creature tokens.
Good chance you're making them every turn.
Absolutely. So this is 100% Slay. I mean, 3 mana, and then it's plus another 4, so 7 mana in total. You get all 3 of these things. I wouldn't even really care for the third one as much.
Yeah, not even the second one.
Yeah.
I would say the rate for the second one, though, it's just 1 additional mana, copy a target token. So if you have one of those offspring cards or something.
Let's say you got a tree folk. Let's say you got an orc army. You know, now you're doubling them. So, absolute slay.
Not the orc army, though.
Oh, yeah, because it would turn into a 1/1 after, right? It wouldn't copy.
It would become a 0. It's a 0/0.
Oh, because it's supposed to be the 1 card. Yeah, makes sense. You can tell I play orcs. We've got Dawn's Truce up next. 1 generic, 1 white. It's an instant. You have to gift a card. Now, I want to see this gift in action. I think it's going to be fun for group hug decks, but you have to promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects.
You may promise.
Oh yeah, you may.
You got a bunch of lawyers up in here. You always got to watch what you say.
Oh yeah, you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain indestructible until end of turn. This is a heroic intervention.
Yeah.
In white, with a couple extra steps, but same exact.
You let one person draw a card. That's it.
Yeah. Absolute slay. For 2 mana.
Slay.
We've got Warren War Leader. Tom?
I was going to say, let me take this one.
No.
2 generic, 2 white. Creature. Rabbit Knight. Look at that thing. Offspring 2. Whenever you attack, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking. Or attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. 4 mana, 4/4. I think this is garbage. It's crappier than an Adeline, and not only that, but it's only giving your creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. It's 4 mana. You're not getting it to attack. You need the attack trigger to happen. It's bleh.
This is like, I feel like it's a knockoff try for Leonin War Leader. But
in a way.
Yeah, like in a way it's trying to be that way. I don't know.
Even that card sucks.
It's really not that good unless you're just using it for token generation. So, nay on that one. What do we got next, Tom?
Starfall, Invocation, 3 generic, 2 white. Sorcery, gift a card. So it has the gift a card mechanic, and then destroy all creatures. If the gift was promised, return a creature card, put it into your graveyard, return a creature card put into your graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. Yeah. This is a board wipe, but you get to save your creature if you let someone draw. That's it. It's a slide for me.
Cool. Slide it is. We've got Whiskervale Forerunner up next. 3 generic, 1 wipe. It's a mouse bard. It comes in with 3/4 power toughness. It's got Valiant, and so whenever this becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them. You may put it onto the battlefield if it's your turn. If you don't, put it onto the battlefield. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I think this is going to be great for those, like for mana curve decks. I would highly use this in. As far as the fact that you can put it onto the battlefield if it's your turn, like there's just so much opportunity. I think this is a great card. What do you got?
You have the ability, so first time each turn, right? Whenever it comes to target of spell or ability control for the first time each turn. Mother Rune, Skrelv, right? Those are going to be creatures that have abilities where you're targeting, you're going to be trying to protect them. So you're targeting it with an ability. With that, you have the chance to possibly bring out, a Skyclave Apparition, or possibly bring out, a Brutal Cathar, where it's going to enter the battlefield, exile target creature opponent controls. I think it has a lot of potential. 4 mana though, that's tough.
Yeah, no. I probably wouldn't use this.
I probably wouldn't use it either.
So nay.
I'll give it a nay.
What do we got for the last one on white?
Salvation Swan, 3 generic, 1 white. Creature, bird, cleric, flash. Flying, 3/3. Comes out as a 3/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield or another bird you control enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature you control without flying. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Bird Blink. Blink Bird. Isn't Yorion the Skybird?
I thought it was a dragon.
Bird Serpent.
No, Bird Serpent.
Haha! Birds.
I guess you're making a Yorion deck around this card.
That's funny. Yeah.
There you go. Now you have a reason to put this in a deck.
Now you have a bird.
So no, it's a nay.
Bird. What? It's a Slay. That card's a Slay. Yeah. It's flash too, so it's a protection spell. And it makes your creature have flying the next turn.
Yeah, but if you're putting this in a bird deck, most of your creatures are going to have flying.
You might throw a Hullbreaker Horror in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm going to say nay on this one for me.
Slay.
Slay for you.
For the birds.
Alright, so I did want to talk about one land, me personally. The rest I don't really care as much for because they are all strictly for the tribal aspect of this set. 3 Tree City. It is a legendary land. When it enters, choose a creature type. Now, tap it, add 1 colorless mana. Then it's also got the tap it, choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. This is good. This is like doubling your mana, especially for any tribal deck, if not quadrupling it. I'm thinking of like, Growing Rites of Itlamok. Like for 2 mana, you get to now have similar status to that. Or Cabal Coffers. Now you get to make 1 for each swamp that you have. You tap 2 generic and you tap it, or you tap 2 swamps and you tap it. I can't remember which one is which, but that is what makes this so good, is because now you can have this for any of your tribes. Tom?
Yeah, it's like a Nykthos for tribe.
I like it a lot. Absolute Slay. If you want to talk about these, you can.
I just wanted to throw in the cycle, not cycle, but for each of the colors, right, they had specific lands that pertain to the tribal of, frog, rabbits, raccoons, squirrels, bats, lizards, rats, squirrels, otters, and basically giving them each a special effect and ability. If you're running those types of cards, right, that have that tribal effect, those are going to be some of the things that you are going to want to add. Besides that, there was a couple other lands that were worth mentioning about. Fountain Port is one of them. It's a tap for a generic, or you can pay 2 mana to sacrifice a token and draw a card, which I think is really good. And then 3 mana to pay 1 life, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. So the ability to just generate a blocker possibly, and then 4 mana to create a treasure token. So it's also a ramp card in a sense. Yeah, pretty solid.
This card is a land that has so much utility.
Yeah, draw, ramp, create a creature.
This is going to be a $30 card, guaranteed.
That card,
maybe like a 15 to 20.
I can see this being like 10 to 20 bucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an overall good card.
We got Patchwork Banner going over to our artifacts. It's 3 generic. It enters. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1, and then you get to also tap it and add 1 mana of any color. I like it because it adds a little bit more spice than paying 3 mana for a mana rock. You're getting to have them all come in with +1/+1. My automatic thought process that I would want this in is in like zombies, squirrels, elves, maybe every other creature that is in the BloomBurrow set, but I do see this expanding further than just the BloomBurrow set. Any thoughts?
I think it's going to be a budget card, not expensive. To me, it's a Slay.
Yep. What's the last one that we have for artifacts?
Heirloom Epic, 1 generic. Look at these cute little guys. They're reading stories. Artifact. 4 generic tap. You can draw a card for each mana in the ability's activation cost. You may tap an untapped creature you control rather than pay the mana. Activate only as a sorcery. Haha, I think this is really good. I think people are gonna not see this and be like, yeah, think of it. Think about it. Just think about it. You could possibly just draw a crap ton of cards. Or draw a card for the 0 mana.
Yeah. Good stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna give it a slay.
Slay.